Happy Sunday. This is Zephaniah, Francois, your emotional health advocate and the founder of Kingdom Child. And today I want to, I'm super excited about launching this first video, which is going to be the first of many. So the vision behind this particular video is me hosting workshops where I advocate for facilitating language and awareness around emotional health. And so this is the beginning. So pardon me as I go through the trial and error on how to develop this message. But today I wanted to bring in some visuals just because for me, just a little bit of transparency. More recently, like within the last year that I've been here, I've really experienced suppression, being repressed. So it's like the idea of everything that I've been wanting to share, all the information that I have developed. And so I feel a little all over the place, right? So it's so much information. So these visuals are going to help me to establish the baseline. And it's also going to help me to facilitate the language around the conversation and the information that I am presenting. So that's why these are here. We're gonna jump right in. So a little bit of background, because this is video one, right? A little bit of background. I have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. Going back to go forward, I've always been passionate about helping people. So my life's journey has been just the refinement and development of how that would look, right? So here we are, fast forward. I did a little bit in private practice therapy as a therapist. And that is where I kind of discovered that I didn't identify with all of my work, right? So there were some aspects of counseling and doing therapy that, that I could agree with, right? Going beyond identifying with it, but I realized that I just wasn't going to explore what God was doing in me and what he was making me most passionate about, which is the idea of being to others how he is to me, right? And so these workshops are going to be the idea of me working and helping as many people as possible by being to them how Christ continues to be with me. And that is the birth and origin of emotional and experiential language, which is how I facilitate the information that I'm sharing with you. Beyond that, it is rooted in, there's only two sources. So the source is my own personal relationship with Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ, right? So the baseline for this information is going to be Jesus, the Word, right? So let's jump right in. All of my videos are not going to have this background, but since this is the first video, I kind of wanted to establish the context around the why, right? Why am I an advocate and what am I advocating for? I'm an advocate because my testimony is a reflection of how Jesus is to me. Love advocates for me every day from moment to moment, right? So my life is really a reflection of Jesus's love for me, right? So I want to be that to others. It's overwhelming. It's something that I can't contain. The other thing I'm advocating for is the awareness of how Jesus, the awareness of my emotions having a voice, which is the work of Jesus in my life, right? It's something that happened, of course, under my pastor, meaning I'm a believer, I go to church, so I believe God used different things around me to kind of facilitate this awareness in my own life. But once I did recognize that my emotions had a voice, I understood that love was the language and the voice to speak back and engage my emotions. Now, why is this even important? Okay, so we've established why I'm an advocate. Love advocates for me, and love advocates for the voice of my emotions. And so my testimony is how God is to me, and that is how I desire to be for others. And so this is an opportunity for me to do that on a larger scale, right? And so the why behind it is, now this is where we kind of go into the problem, right? So God did something in my life, but the journey also brought into mind what I believe we face as a world and within our society, which the language around that I want to use is identity crisis, right? I believe that we are facing broken identity within our world, right? And as a society, why do I believe this? Why do I believe that identity crisis, the same as, broken identity, right? That's the overall identity crisis. So now we're going to move to broken identity, right? Why do I believe that that's the problem? I believe it's the problem because when you look at the surface level of the issues that we face. Now, I'm going to expand and bring it in. Just look worldwide. If you watch the news, something more recently that happened in New Orleans was a guy on purpose running his truck into people, right? Killing himself and others. That's just one of so many incidents where people are not only harming themselves, but they're harming others. Now in LA, they have, apart from natural disaster, they have people really, really conspiring and coming and setting houses on fire on purpose, right? That's a larger scale, right? I don't watch the news, honestly. So you may have more information related to what I'm talking about than me, but I am observant, right? And I've devoted over 15 years of careful observation of a person, of myself and of other people. So I learned that you can learn a lot from careful observation, what you're paying attention to. But just to bring it home to your backyard, think about some of the issues you face on a day-to-day, right? This is where we understand, or this is the question you want to ask around what I'm talking about right now. How often are you, right? How often are we operating from who we say we are versus how we are in any given moment, right? How often are we conscious or aware of who we identify with and how we identify, and are we operating from that space, right? So this is where the visual comes in at. The problem that I am addressing as an advocate is identity crisis, broken identity as a society, but I'm addressing it where I am really, 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 really facilitating awareness around your personal responsibility, right? So this is where I break it down and I say, you as an individual, my desire is to inspire you by facilitating language and awareness so that you understand I can and I am responsible for my emotional well-being, but now you have resources, awareness, and language around what that responsibility looks like and why it is so important, right? So here we go with the visuals. We're going to start from the beginning. Again, as I established, again, this video is going to be one of the longer ones because this is video number 1. So I hate to be one of those YouTubers with, a super, super long intro, but this is going to be like the only one, right? So we have to start from the beginning. The baseline for emotional and experiential language is Jesus. The inspiration is Proverbs 4, verse 23. Above all things, guard your heart. So what I want to do more specifically is teach people how to operate from love, right? So as an advocate, that is my work, to come alongside you, right? And facilitate language and awareness around your personal responsibility for learning how to guard your heart. Now, where did that come from? Proverbs 4, verse 23. Above all things, God makes a command. He asks us, guard your heart, because the essence of our being flows from that space, right? So beyond that, this is where the visuals come in at. The filter for guarding our heart. Well, how do we guard our heart, you ask? Well, we're going to guard our heart. We're going to guard our heart by using the expanded definition of love, right? And so the expanded definition of love comes from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. Take a pause.